How many passwords are you juggling? Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from a company called Synacor is CEO Marc Zionts. Hi, Marc.
Hi, Fred. Good morning.
Good morning. So tell us about the company and what you do.
Great. So Synacor has been around for some time. Previously, we were a public company, but as of a few years ago, we went private. We have two lines of business. The first line is called Zimbra. Zimbra is a company that's been around a long time. It's been owned by many other companies, including people like Yahoo and VMware. So Zimbra is leading open source email product, used extensively outside the US and used domestically with mostly with mobile operators and with cable operators. So it's like a white label email solution for them. So that's one product line, but totally separate, we have another business. So that business has its own sales and marketing, its own product and engineering. A separate business we have is called Cloud ID, and that's what we're talking about today. And Cloud ID is used extensively in the content space. And by content space, I mean it's used by content providers as well as network providers that have content. And what we're essentially doing is doing the authorization and the sign-on to A, provide security, but B, to provide a better user experience. So examples of customers in this space would be people like Max, Peacock, YouTube TV, SiriusXM, a whole host of companies like this that have content. And then we're also connected to just about every cable operator out there as well.
So step us through, you're going behind the scenes here, helping consumers, and describe for us how you're making their lives easier / better.
Yeah, great question. So what we're really trying to do is, if you have a subscription, you might log on initially with a content provider on the network you're on, but we hope that's that you're not having to do that frequently. And the challenge here is that what is having the authorized rights to content mean? It's very different than being on an enterprise network, whereas one user equals one person, and the devices are typically going to be a phone, maybe a pad, and definitely a computer. In the content world, you might have the right to share that subscription with multiple members of your family. Furthermore, you have lots of different devices, not just those 3 devices, but it's also probably smart TVs. It might be a Google Home, it may be Alexa, it might be a Sonos speaker. So it's the ability to know who you are, keep track of that, manage those subscriptions and those logins in a way that is both safe and secure, but that doesn't constantly force you to have to log on again. I don't know about you, but I know, once I log into, whatever it is, my Netflix, my Max, that password, it's gone. It's not something I'm going to keep in my mind. So if that can be kept track of, by a service and provide me with access to my subscriptions, then I'm going to have a much better experience, and I'm more likely to continue to use those services as well.
Right. If you had to log on every time you were going to watch a streaming service, you might dump that streaming service.
You absolutely. And then the other thing here too is these days people can come at a subscription from many different ways. If I have, let's just say Charter was my cable provider and I had a cable package from them, maybe I bought, Peacock through them, but maybe I actually bought Peacock directly, as a DTC. Well, wouldn't it be nice if when I went to my, if I'm on Charter and I want to watch Peacock, that it already knew that I had a subscription and it didn't force me to do that log on again. So that kind of portability is, becomes very, very important as well.
It's a challenge, I suppose, because I assume your clients, these services, these companies, they're concerned about they don't want to be ripped off by people who might be sharing things improperly. So they want some security on their end, but consumers want convenience. So you have a balancing act to try to achieve here, right?
Yeah, I think that when you talk about things like single sign-on and authorization, it's always there's always a tension between security and authorization and having a great user experience. And so yeah, it is balancing those out. And there's tools to do that. It may be to say, hey, you have concurrency monitoring. Only X number of people can be using the subscription simultaneously. It can be only so many known devices. So there's ways of kind of keeping track of that for the content owner. And of course, they want to retain you as a subscriber, but they also don't want to be exploited, by having you share it with not just, the authorized members of your family per the agreement, but, with your neighborhood.
So it is those clients, these companies where you make your money, and consumers don't see that. So, but essentially consumers are paying for it, but it's all behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, the only time a consumer never pays us. They may see us momentarily. For example, you might get a screen that says, let's say you're going to some content provider, and it may just say, do you already have a do you have a subscription through your cable provider or through your TV provider? And if so, click which one. And if you're already signed in on that one, then the transaction's completed. So that's us behind the scenes, where they might have a little user experience that features us, our software, but they're not having to buy from us. They're not having to know that that's us. It's just us facilitating them, using that. And typically that's only done, once. The first time you're using it from a new device with that content package.
And very often you would be using another device to complete that.
Well, you may have logged on somewhere else, and now you're just on some new device it's never seen before. So then it's just asking you to confirm that you do have a subscription, but it's not saying you have to log in right here. It's just saying, hey, if you have a subscription through another provider, just click, and now you're done.
And that seems to happen astonishingly fast. So if you have this screen on your TV in front of you saying, log on through your computer or your phone or something.
Right.
And
yeah. So this has to be a high performance service, low latency. Let me give you some examples of events where people simultaneously may be, looking to log on right away. And we have to be able to process all these transactions without delay. So if you have something like Game of Thrones, a new that's just has a new episode out, or a concluding episode, literally, you have a barrage of of people saying, I want to watch now. Even more timely might be a sporting event. So, one of the major sporting leagues, I can't say their name, but one of the biggest sporting leagues out there is one of our customers. And so they, people wait to the last minute and they're logging on, and so you've got to give all these people access immediately and authorize them and make sure that they're an authenticated user.
Are those kinds of things the biggest challenges that you have as a company?
Well, we're designed for that. So, but we know those are known events. So we always have our engineers kind of on standby. We operate 7/24 with a NOC and with a technical support services. But we always have for known high volume events, we're always going to be there just to make sure that there's no hiccups anywhere in a network, because it's not necessarily on our side. It can be on a customer's connection. It can be on network lines. We're running on the cloud, so we have a very scalable solution with our partner, which is Oracle. So, but we certainly watch for those. What can be another big challenge, though, can be if there is a unknown event, that's a big news event, and somebody wants to, everybody wants to get on their YouTube TV at the same time. That could be it. If it was a disaster or some other major announcement, there you've got to make sure people are available, even if they didn't know they had to be available, just to monitor.
Are there big issues with security today? If somebody finds tries to use my password, from another country somewhere to log on? I mean,
Well,
I don't know. It may not seem as serious to the consumer if
well,
that
I think,
happens because they're not purchasing something necessarily, and I'm not getting a bill for it.
yeah.
But
Well, I mean, the service providers, they have all kinds of rules around where that IP address can be coming from, because the content rights are very tricky. Just because you have content rights in the US doesn't mean you have content rights in Canada, let alone over, in Europe or Asia. So we're always having to look not just, at who the user is, but, is that even an authorized IP?
very
So,
interesting.
yes, security is an issue. So insecurity is always an issue. Now, of course, these are, this is the intellectual property, the copyrighted material of content owners. So we have a duty to work with them and protect their property. This is probably not hit on as much as as other areas. Obviously, financial or bank, where they could be stealing all of your money. They're at a whole new level, but there's also a very different use case. There's no sharing of accounts, right? An account is an individual, or it's an individual and their partner or something. But banks, I think, are under attack nonstop. We have to make sure we're working in partnership with our content providers to protect their property.
How can you make, at the same time, how can you make this even easier? I'm sure those are things that you're looking at for consumers to make this even more seamless.
Yeah, so I think one of the big trends is passwordless. So, as we move away from passwords and we start using, known things, including biometrics that can be on your computer or on your mobile device, that becomes another level of security and another level of providing, user friendly ways of interacting and connecting with subscriptions. So, with our customers, that's one of the things we're planning now is, giving them that access. Most mobile devices these days, of course, are going to have good biometrics, whether it's a facial or whether it's a print. But even I think computers are moving in that direction. I have my fingerprint on my computer, but I also have I'm also authorized through my watch to go to my to turn on my computer. So, I think we're moving in that direction, and I think that's going to provide yet a better, a next level better experience for folks.
Terrific. Is there a place people can go to get more information about the work you're doing?
So they can go right to our Cloud ID website, which is the web address for that is cloudid.io. So you can go right to there. So you can go to Synacor.com and go to Cloud ID, or you can just go to cloudid.io directly. And we've got a lot of good information there for people to learn more about this. We also have it built into content providers, sports. We have kind of a whole separate section about sports, since that's an area we work in a lot. And then we also have a new area that we're moving into as well for consumers with healthcare, again, not charging the consumer. But the focus here is healthcare is kind of like content channels. Your healthcare may be in lots of different places, and wouldn't it be great if you could access it with a passwordless, and now I can get my health information. And we believe health information needs to be democratized. My main home is Chapel Hill. I shouldn't go to UNC because they have my data. I should be able to go to UNC because they've got a great health provider. Likewise, if I decide I want to go to a specialist at Duke University's medical, I should be able to go there, and I shouldn't be restricted because I can't get my data. So I think you're going to start to see data in health kind of be like content channels in a way. So we have a vision of moving in that direction. We're doing a lot of work with Oracle. They, of course, are very focused on healthcare. They bought one of the largest health information systems companies out there last year. That's Cerner. So we see, health is another one. So you'll see 3 different kinds of verticals in which we talk about solutions on cloud.io, cloudid.io.
Sounds fascinating. Congratulations on the work that you're doing, Marc Zionts. Thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you.